Desperation for Stafford. 8 seconds left. Loading up near side Nakua. Is he out of bounds?
Oh my God.
3 seconds. They're going to run the clock. That's going to do it. The Seahawks soar to Super Bowl 60.
This is Keith Sports News, KSN. That's right, that game was on Fox. Yes, this is a KSN episode 106 of me recapping the two NFL Sunday games, the conference championship games. And, you heard that audio at the end of the NFC Championship game with Kevin Burkhardt and Tom Brady. I'll talk about that later because first I will talk about the AFC Championship. All right? Now, I'm only going to, for this episode, I'm only going to talk about the NFL games because I don't really have the time to talk about what's been going on at the Australian Open. I'll save that for a different episode. All right, so this is just an NFL episode. All right. So, meaning this will be a shorter episode. All right. Oh yeah. Yes, I know. I was planning to come back yesterday, Monday, but I didn't. And if you're wondering why, I also didn't really have the time. And I actually didn't have work on Monday because of the freeze. Yes, where I live in South Louisiana, it's freezing. It's like 25 degrees right now. So, excuse me. So yeah, I did a live stream of my main channel, and it ended at 2:30 a.m. on Monday. And yeah, basically I didn't really have the time, So my apologies on that. Usually when I don't come back on Monday, most likely I'll come back on Tuesday. But I also don't have the time. Don't have the time to talk about everything. But I'm only going to talk about the big two NFL games. And let's get right into it. Let's go back to NFL prime time. This is the first one. Oh yeah. They called this international statement. This music never gets old. This music's actually copyrighted. Yeah, meaning you can find it on your music app, whatever you use to listen to music on. I have Amazon Music. All right. So, let's get into it. So, NFL Conference Championship Weekend recap, mainly on Sunday. And there we go. So, starting with the AFC Championship game, it was the New England Patriots at the Denver Broncos. And I remember these two teams were in the AFC Championship game twice, in 2014 and 2016. But they would really say 2013 and 2015 because those games were during the 2013 and 2015 seasons. Tom Brady against Peyton Manning. The only two quarterbacks that have won a Super Bowl on two different teams. That's it. Really impressive. I don't think there was a head coach that won the Super Bowl on two different teams. Well, Sean Payton on the Denver Broncos, he was trying to make history, all right, because he did win a Super Bowl when he was with the New Orleans Saints. That was like 16 years ago almost. It's crazy. So, this matchup, Patriots, Broncos, to be honest, looking at this matchup before the game started, this was not an exciting matchup to me, because no Buffalo Bills, and after they failed to win their game, we heard the news that Bo Nix wouldn't be playing in the AFC Championship game, and that just makes the AFC Championship game less exciting, you know? Yeah, no Buffalo Bills, no Bo Nix. I mean, no disrespect to the New England Patriots. It's amazing how much they improved in one season, right? Last year they only won, 4 games? And this year, I heard that both teams, they started off the seasons 1-2. And New England's first game, I believe, was a loss to the team that has the number 1 pick for this year's draft, the Vegas Raiders. Isn't that crazy? In Foxborough. It's like, what the heck? I guess they were off to a slow start, and after being 1-2, they won 11 games in a row? I mean, that is impressive. Really, for both teams. They went on this massive winning streak. Now people are going to say, oh, New England had an easy schedule. I don't want to hear that, because this is pro football, okay? I don't want to hear that they have an easy schedule. Like, this ain't college football, all right? And I remember when that division, the AFC East division, used to be a weak division, meaning Buffalo, Miami, and the New York Jets, they all sucked when they had Tom Brady playing for the Patriots. That division's not as weak anymore, because Buffalo is a really good team. Miami is not as bad of a team as people thought, even though Mike McDaniel got fired. And of course, the New York Jets are the New York Jets. Cursed. All right, the NFC South used to be a great division too, but now that's the weak division. All right, so I don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear Patriots had an easy schedule. Like, come on now. All right. But again, this matchup to me wasn't that exciting. I wish it was the Buffalo Bills against the New England Patriots. That would have been an awesome showdown. AFC East rivalry. The NFC Championship game was an NFC West rivalry showdown. I mean, that would have been awesome if the AFC Championship game was also a rivalry showdown. But the game was in Denver, so they had that home field advantage. But it was freezing, but it's also freezing in New England, I did pick New England to win only because the Denver Broncos did not have Bo Nix. So the big question was, how would Jared Stidham play? Right? He hasn't thrown a pass in over 2 years before this game began. It's kind of crazy. So I didn't really watch the game. Well, I did watch the fourth quarter, only because of the crazy snow that came in. Yeah. So this game started at 2 o'clock Central on CBS with Jim Nantz. Hello, friends, and Tony Romo. I heard that some people don't like Tony Romo as an announcer. I guess because he talks too much. That doesn't bother me. I like him. I remember watching him play as a quarterback, so maybe for those of you that don't like him, you probably didn't get to see him play as a quarterback for the Dallas Cowboys. So anyways, it was freezing cold in Denver. So, not much happened in the whole 60-minute game. 4 quarters, not much happened. However, Jarrett Stidham was off to a pretty good start. Drove down the field and got a touchdown. Denver's up 7-0. I'm like, wow. Okay. That's amazing. And then later in the first quarter, New England didn't do much on offense. Later in the first quarter, Denver got the ball again, and it was, 4th and 1? And they decided to go for it instead of taking the field goal. That's stupid. That is stupid because take the freaking points. Seriously. Like, take the points. I don't know what you're doing. You know, it's be up by 2 scores. 10-0. I guess they didn't thought of that. It's kind of ridiculous, but yeah. All right. So, it's kind of ridiculous, but I don't know what it is with these coaches going for it on 4th down, They don't know what they're doing, so. And not much happened again in the game, first half. New England was able to get a touchdown. All right. I believe that was in the second quarter. I think the game was tied 7-7 in the second quarter. But Denver tried to kick a field goal before halftime. It was like 50-something yards with Will Lutz. Will Lutz used to be the Saints kicker. And he kicked it far enough, but it veered to the right, and the kick was no good. All right. So, the game remained tied. All right. So, and then there was a play. It's hard to remember everything that happened. I'm just going from what I remember from the top of my head. I was watching NFL Primetime. Yeah, this music that you hear. Yeah, they had NFL Primetime after the NFC Championship game. So that was great. Yeah, seriously. Okay. Jarrett Stidham, instead of him taking the sack, he kept going backwards and backwards and backwards, and then it looked like he fumbled the ball, and then New England picked up the ball and they went into the end zone. It looked like they scored a touchdown, but it was a fumble, but not a touchdown. So New England's ball, and then they scored a touchdown. Okay, so this is when they got the touchdown. All right, I just now remembered in the top of my head. All right. Okay. And then let's get into towards the end of the third quarter. The snow started to pour in. The fourth quarter was a totally different ball game. It was pretty crazy. The field was all white. That's always kind of an exciting game. Kind of entertaining to watch a snow game. But it's so weird again. Playoffs in January, but it is what it is. So yeah, not much happened in the fourth quarter again. A lot of punting, a lot of missed field goals too for the Denver Broncos. They could not get another field goal to tie the game. Even though they really should have kicked that field goal in the first quarter to tie the game, but they didn't. And then every time they try to kick a field goal, they miss. So then the 2-minute warning. After the 2-minute warning, Drake May got a first down for the New England Patriots, and that was enough for the Patriots to win the AFC Championship game. And before that, Jarrett Stidham threw a bad pass, interception. You see, Sean Payton, what would have happened if they would have kicked the field goal in the first quarter? It would have been tied 10-10. Game would have gone into overtime. So yeah, New England, I gotta say, they're kind of lucky to win this game. So yeah, the Patriots are back in the Super Bowl for the first time in 7 years. I just can't believe it. Their last Super Bowl appearance was 7 years ago. That's crazy. That long ago already? It doesn't feel like it's 7 years, you know. But this is their first Super Bowl appearance after the Tom Brady, Bill Belichick era. And give them credit. Drake May, he can be an entertaining quarterback. Mike Vrabel, their head coach, used to play with the Patriots with Tom Brady. So that's cool. They should have hired him last season. But nonetheless, it's amazing on how much they can turn their program around in just one season. Uh-oh, you hear those French horns. It's time to talk about the NFC Championship game between the LA Rams and the Seattle Seahawks. Clearly, this was the bigger matchup, and it was the better game. I did watch this game. I did not want the LA Rams to win. You guys know why. Because 7 years ago, they beat the Saints to go to the Super Bowl, even though that was a different team back then. But I'll never root for the Rams. Never, ever. Just like the Atlanta Braves in MLB. So, okay, the game's in Seattle, so I'm like, all right, the Seahawks, they got to win this game. Home field, home of the 12th man. I think they stole that from Texas A&M. I don't know when that became a thing or why it became a thing. But I know that their fans are super, super loud. I remember the Seahawks team from over 10 years ago with Russell Wilson and Pete Carroll. Pete Carroll really still could be the Seahawks head coach. He really could still be their head coach. Anyways, Seahawks, I believe they got the ball. No, the Rams got the ball first. Didn't get any points. So the Seahawks got the ball, and then they drove down the field fast for a touchdown. And I'm like, uh-oh, is this going to be another blowout? But I don't think I had a feeling the Seahawks aren't going to crush the Rams like they did the 49ers. But then the Rams responded with a field goal. The Seahawks also got a field goal. 10-3 after the first quarter. Second quarter, Rams got another field goal, and then they scored a touchdown after the 2-minute warning, and then they take a 13-10 lead. And then before halftime, Seahawks got another touchdown, 17-13 at halftime. And then the Seahawks got the ball in the second half, and they scored another touchdown to make it 24-13. And then the Rams were able to get another touchdown, a response to make it 24-20. And then the Seahawks got another touchdown. Yeah, this kind of turned into a kind of a shootout in the second half, 31-20. Rams got another touchdown in the third quarter. Yeah, 4 touchdowns in the third quarter. Seahawks up 31-27. And I think this was before the last Rams touchdown. I don't remember when exactly, but I want to say it was before the Rams touchdown, the last Rams touchdown. The Seahawks player got unsportsmanlike conduct. Trash talking to the Rams bench. Like, what are you doing? Like, why does this happen sometimes? Like, a player just loses his mind. And then that's how the Rams respond. They responded. Next play was a freaking touchdown. Yes, it was. It was their last touchdown. Their last touchdown, yeah, I'm looking at it right now. Puka Nakua. What kind of name is that? I wonder if he's from a different country. 34-yard pass from Matthew Stafford. And then the fourth quarter, no score. And then, towards the end of the game, the Rams had no timeouts with like 25 seconds left, and they were down at their own, 5-yard line or something like that. I'm like, there's no way. There's no way they're going to come back. If they were to come back, I would have got pissed off. Because, I didn't want the Rams to win. But then Matthew Stafford threw a pass. I forgot who caught it, but he caught it inbounds, and the clock kept ticking. Yeah, the clock doesn't stop on first downs like it does in the CFL, UFL, and college football. I really don't like that rule. I wish the clock does stop after you get a first down, but no, that clock keeps ticking. But he caught the ball. This Rams player caught the ball inbounds, and he was able to. Excuse me, we already played this song. Hang on a second. Okay, I don't remember if we played this song or not, but if we did, it is whatever. There's like 12 different NFL primetime music, well-known ones. Yeah, the Rams player caught the ball in bounds. He made a great catch, but he was in bounds. The official did this signal, meaning clock keeps ticking, and that's how the Seahawks won the game. Man, that's kind of that is like an unusual ending to a game like that. Yeah, because the Rams had no timeouts. Oh yeah, and before that, in the fourth quarter, the Rams, they went for it on 4th and 5, I think. Instead of kicking the field goal, they went for it and they didn't make it. To me, they really should have kicked the field goal. It would have been 31-30. Yeah, you're still behind, but you can kick another field goal to take the lead. Guess they didn't thought of that. I guess Sean McVay, he thought he can do a Curt Cignetti type of play. Yeah, remember Curt Cignetti in Indiana? They went for it on 4th and 5 in the national championship game. Like, that's kind of crazy. So the Seahawks advance to Super Bowl 60, and yep, Super Bowl is set. We got the New England Patriots against the Seattle Seahawks on Sunday, February the 8th in Santa Clara, the San Francisco 49er Stadium. I don't know what Five Terror, I know you're listening. I know you like listening to these episodes. Thank you so much. What do you think? That, the NFC Championship winner, whether if it was the Rams or the Seahawks, they're going to be playing in the Super Bowl at your favorite team's stadium. Has that ever happened before? In a Super Bowl where a team plays in their rival's stadium? I don't remember. The New Orleans Saints, 7 years ago, they could have gone to that Super Bowl, or really should have, and that Super Bowl was in Atlanta, the Falcons Stadium. That's the Saints' big rivalry with the Atlanta Falcons. So, yeah. I don't know if this has ever happened before, where a team plays in the Super Bowl at their rival's stadium. It's kind of weird that Santa Clara hosted Super Bowl 50, 10 years ago, and here we are 10 years later, they're hosting Super Bowl 60. But I think this will be a pretty good matchup. I think, for me, this is to me. I didn't want the LA Rams to be in it. I was afraid that the LA Rams were going to win again because, the LA Dodgers, they won the World Series back-to-back years, so I thought the NFL would be like, we gotta have LA win the Super Bowl after the Dodgers repeated as World Series champions. But I think next year's Super Bowl will be in LA, so maybe the Rams will win the Super Bowl again in their home stadium. I don't know if this is the end of Matthew Stafford. He's not as old. He's only like 35, 36. He's not a really old quarterback like Aaron Rodgers. And I think he can come back for another year. I thought he had a great season. I think he'll be the NFL MVP this year. He's on a podcast called Let's Go with Jim Gray. I'll have to listen to that, what he has to say. So, yeah. But I think this Super Bowl will be a pretty exciting one. This will be more exciting than last year's, for sure. Yeah, because it's, no Eagles, no Chiefs, So, Seattle is the favorite, as they should be. I hope, what team will I cheer for? Listen, AFC, New England Patriots. I know I got sick of that team when they had Tom Brady, but it's a different roster now, so I got to give them credit. Mike Vrabel's first season as their head coach. Last year, this team only won 4 games, I think. I mean, that's awesome. They were able to turn their franchise around in just one season. So it's impressive. It would be cool, honestly, if New England wins this Super Bowl, especially when they are the underdogs. I think I will cheer for them. Yeah, I did say that I do want an AFC team to win it because it's not the Kansas City Chiefs. I guess for once I'll root for New England in the Super Bowl. The Seattle Seahawks, on the other hand, it would be cool to see Sam Darnold winning a Super Bowl because I remember Sam played at USC in college. I remember that high-scoring Rose Bowl in 2017, January, when they played against Penn State. It was a shootout. That was 9 years ago. Last year, Sam was with the Vikings, the Minnesota Vikings. His first season this year with the Seahawks is in the Super Bowl. So that would be cool if Sam wins the Super Bowl. At this point, I'm hoping that it's not a blowout like last year's. I think most of us, we don't want another blowout Super Bowl back-to-back years. I don't know when's the last time that happened, a blowout Super Bowl. But whichever team wins, I'm fine with. But I think I will cheer for New England since they are the underdogs. But if the Seahawks win, they deserve it. I think they are the best team in the NFL. So they are the favorites. These two teams actually met in Super Bowl 49 11 years ago, and I do remember that game. I was actually cheering for New England. You know why? Because the previous year, the previous Super Bowl, so Super Bowl 48, the Seattle Seahawks won. They crushed the Denver Broncos. I was also sort of afraid, are we going to get Broncos-Seahawks Super Bowl? And then the Seahawks crushed the Broncos again like they did in Super Bowl 48. Thankfully, that's not the case. But yeah, I was like you, 5-Tear, back then. I didn't want to see a team winning the Super Bowl back-to-back years. Okay? So that's why I cheered for New England in Super Bowl 49 against the Seahawks. And I guess I'll cheer. Yeah, the Seahawks, I didn't cheer for the Seahawks in Super Bowl 48. They were playing against Denver. Peyton Manning was playing. I was cheering for Peyton's team. And I guess I guess I'll be rooting against the Seahawks again. But like I said, I don't mind if the Seahawks win. Hey, I like watching SportsCenter on TSN, the Canadian SportsCenter with Jay Onright. He'll break down these NFL games with Luke Wilson. Luke Wilson, he's a former Seattle Seahawks tight end who was on that Super Bowl winning team in 2014 with Russell Wilson. So it would be, if the Seahawks win, it would be cool to see Luke Wilson happy, in the studio. He has his own podcast, too, on YouTube. It's called Film Never Lies with Luke Wilson on TSN's YouTube channel. So, yeah. I'll talk more about this Super Bowl when it comes up. We always get this extra week waiting, which I don't mind that. I don't mind waiting because I'm not a huge NFL fan. Although I kind of got back into the NFL. I think I'm more into it than college football now. Yeah, for once. I am more into the NFL than college football. I'm glad college football's over. The behind the scenes is a mess. That's just me. But I think I enjoy the NFL season more than college football, even though more people say, oh, it's rigged. It's rigged. It's fake. It's fixed. Ugh. Maybe it is. Maybe it is for the Buffalo Bills. I don't know. I don't know what to say anymore. I do wish the Buffalo Bills were in the Super Bowl. Hey, maybe Jessica Pegula can break the Buffalo curse at the Australian Open, because I believe, as I speak, she's in the quarterfinals. But by the time you see this, I think maybe that quarterfinal match already happened. I know she's got a tough match against Amanda Anisimova. I like both players. I hope the winner of that match wins the Australian Open. If I had to pick one, I would probably pick Jessica Pegula to win. I would like to see her win a major first because she's older. She's 31, okay? Amanda's only, 24? The same age as me. But maybe both players can win a major. Hey, they were in major finals. So, yeah. I know I said I wasn't going to talk about the Australian Open, but I just talked about a little bit of it. By the way, speaking of that, I'm a little bit behind watching that tournament because it's not easy watching that live. So that's why I have YouTube TV to record. But we're in the second week of the tournament, meaning there are less matches, and it's not as difficult to follow it live. But the thing is, when you watch something that's recorded, it's not easy. It's not easy avoiding spoilers. But again, I'll talk about the Australian Open in the next episode. All right. Now to the birthdays. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We got 8 birthdays. Excuse me. What date is it? Oh, the 27th? Okay. All right, happy belated birthday to Travis Etienne Jr., who is now 27 years old, a former football player. I remember this dude's name. All right, so I'm reading this on famousbirthdays.com. His birthplace is in Louisiana, but it doesn't say where in Louisiana. About running back drafted by the Jacksonville Jaguars in the first round of the 2021 NFL Draft. During his college career at Clemson University, he was a national champion and an ACC championship game MVP. Before fame, while attending Jennings High School, he rushed for over 8,864 total yards, with over 115 total touchdowns in just 4 years. Trivia: on October 31, 2020, during a 34-28 win over Boston College, he scored 2 touchdowns, totaling 42 touchdowns for his career, which created a new NCAA record, breaking Donnell Pumphrey's record for most in FBS history. Family life: he is a native of Jennings, Louisiana. Associated with, he was a college and NFL teammate with Trevor Lawrence. Oh, we all know Trevor Lawrence. Yeah, Travis Etienne, I remember that Clemson team. Yeah, that Clemson team was great in the mid to late 2010s and even early 2020s when they had Trevor Lawrence. So that was a fantastic Clemson team. Yeah, Jacksonville Jaguars. Yep. Now the Jaguars have gotten better too, so that's great. But now Clemson did not have a good season. Yeah, they did not have a good season. Very, very unusual. It's like the opposite. Next birthday. An all-time great. That's right. Wayne Gretzky. Happy belated birthday. He's 65 now. All right. Former hockey player. Four-time Stanley Cup champion during his time with the Edmonton Oilers, who tallied over 200 points in 4 separate seasons and broke countless records in his 20-year career. He is widely considered the greatest hockey player of all time and earning the nickname the Great One. Before fame, the rink in his backyard, which he honed his craft on, was called the Wally Coliseum. I did not know that. Trivia, he won the Lady Byng Trophy 5 times, broke 6 All-Star records, and looked down on fighting on the ice. Family life, he married Jenna Jones in 1988. He married actress Jenna Jones in 1988. His oldest daughter, Paulina, became a model, and he also has a daughter named Emma and 3 sons named Tristan, Trevor, and Ty. Associated with, while with Edmonton, he spearheaded some of the most dominant teams in NHL history, playing alongside the likes of Mark Messier, Grant Fuhr, F-U-H-R, Glenn Anderson, Jari Kurri, and Paul Coffey. It's like coffee, but with a Y at the end. Yeah, Wayne Gretzky. Perhaps the greatest hockey player who ever lived. Isn't he on TNT? Because I remember watching last year's Stanley Cup. He was on the pregame show and the intermission report. I don't know I think he is on there regularly. He's not just there as a special guest, right? But yeah, I mean, how awesome. They were there, see him watching. He was there watching his former team in the Stanley Cup final. That's not a reason why I was cheering for the Edmonton Oilers. You know, Connor McDavid, perhaps the greatest hockey player right now, you know. And Wayne Gretzky was there when Alexander Ovechkin broke his record. Yeah, he was there. So that was cool. One legend. One Hall of Famer watching another future Hall of Famer. So happy belated birthday to the great one. One more belated birthday. And that is... Gotta type it in here. And that is... Excuse me. And we got Mercedes Varnado, also known as Sasha Banks, 34 years old. She is a pro wrestler. Okay, professional wrestler who became the first ever WWE Women's Tag Team Champion alongside her partner Bayley. Prior to her victory, she was best known for her time in the WWE Developmental Territory NXT. Before joining NXT, she was a Chaotic Wrestling Women's Champion. She also played Casca Reeves in Season 2 of The Mandalorian. In 2023, she joined New Japan Pro Wrestling under her name Mercedes Moné. She later joined AEW in 2024. Before Fame, she was born in Fairfield, California. She began training with Catholic Wrestling in 2008. Trivia: she adopted the entrance theme "Sky's the Limit" by CFO dollar symbol in 2014. She and Bianca Belair became the first black woman to main event WrestleMania in 2021. Family life: her birth name is Mercedes Justine Castaner Varnado. She married Sarath Taun in 2016. Her cousins are rapper Snoop Dogg, Daz Dillinger, and Ray J, as well as singer Brandy. In 2025, she began dating fellow wrestler Beast Mortis, associated with. She has teamed up with Paige in WWE NXT. So yeah, when I first started watching and got into WWE, which was in 2017, Sasha Banks was one of the top female wrestlers. She had purple hair, okay? She had her big feud with Alexa Bliss. I remember that, man. 2017 in the summer. SummerSlam was really the first pay-per-view I watched, or PLE, that I really got into. It was a really good one. And, yeah, man. I actually do have a Sasha Banks action figure, but I'm not going to go get it because I don't really have the time. I don't really want to spend time looking for it. But I do also have an Alexa Bliss action figure. Yeah, but they're very little because they are little. They are little people, okay? A lot of female wrestlers are little, okay? But a lot of female tennis players are tall, you know? So, yeah. Sasha, I remember when she became champion and then she lost it. She beat Alexa Bliss in SummerSlam to become the WWE Women's Monday Night Raw champion. Yeah, because they did the brand split at the time, and then Alexa won the championship like a week later. Yeah, Sasha had short title reigns basically. She was never my favorite, but I enjoy watching her. Actually, she can be a savage on the mic. She's pretty good on the mic. She was mainly a babyface in the WWE. And I do remember that main event the main event night 1 of WrestleMania 36 in 2021 in Orlando, the COVID year. That was the first WWE event that had limited capacity crowd in Raymond James Stadium, home of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So I do remember that main event. And then in 2023, she left. She got sick of the product. She got sick of what was going on behind the scenes, and she left. She took a break from wrestling, then she went to New Japan Pro Wrestling, and then she eventually went to AEW, and pretty much she's gone by her real name. And I think she became the TBS champion, which is their women's champion. I don't remember if she had a feud with Jade Cargill. Jade Cargill, who is in the WWE right now, used to be in AEW. So, yeah. That is Sasha Banks. That's not her real name, though. That's her WWE name, but I guess she's well known as going by her former ring name, Sasha Banks. Okay, to today's birthdays. And they are sportscasters. Yeah, 2 sportscasters. All right. Those people are John Buccigross and Cris Collinsworth. That's right. Okay, we're gonna do we'll do John Buccigross first. So it is John Buccigross's 60th birthday. Yeah. He is on ESPN. All right. There's not too much information about him because he's not a very popular guy. But he is the host of Sports Center and Baseball Tonight. That's what it says on here. Before fame, he graduated from Heidelberg College. Trivia, he wrote weekly NHL columns for ESPN.com from 2001 to 2010. Family life, he grew up in Steubenville, Ohio, associated with his 3 p.m. Eastern slot on SportsCenter was eventually filled by Jay Crawford. I forgot who Jay Crawford is. I think Jay Crawford's also on ESPN. Oh, his birthday's on the 4th of July. Jay Crawford. Okay. But John Buccigross, he's also on the NHL on ESPN, right? I forget if he's an announcer or if he's like the pregame show studio intermission host. I forget. But I know he does NHL. I remember 10 years ago when he was 50, after the NBA Finals 2016, that historic Game 7 ending. I was watching Scott Van Pelt and SportsCenter, and John Buccigross was there at the NBA Finals outside the arena. So yeah, that's the one thing I remember him. But yeah, I guess he is mainly an NHL guy right now. I heard that the NHL on ESPN, they're gonna have a stadium series or a stadium game in Tampa, Florida this Sunday. I might watch that. It depends on what time that game is. But maybe John Buccigross will be there. And then, of course, Cris Collinsworth. It's his 67th birthday. All right. Former football player, wide receiver who spent his entire eight-year NFL career with the Cincinnati Bengals, catching 417 passes for 6,698 yards and 36 touchdowns. After retirement, he became a popular TV football analyst and color commentator. Before fame, he completed a 99-yard pass while playing quarterback during his first year at Florida. Trivia, he helped the Bengals win the AFC Championships in 1981 and 1988. Family life, he has 4 children with Holly Collinsworth, whom he married in 1989. His son Austin played football at the University of Notre Dame. Associated with, he and Chad Johnson both starred as wide receivers for the Bengals. So yeah, Cris Collinsworth used to play for the Cincinnati Bengals with Boomer Esiason. Yeah, Esiason was the Bengals quarterback, and he's left-handed. Esiason used to be on the NFL on CBS in the studio. That's a shame. He's no longer there. Boomer Esiason no longer on the NFL on CBS in the studio alongside with Phil Simms. Yeah, it is what it is. But Cris Collinsworth, before he joined NBC, he was actually on Fox. He was actually in the booth with Joe Buck and Troy Aikman for a couple of seasons. This was after John Madden and Pat Summerall split. Okay. John Madden became partners with Al Michaels. And then Joe Buck became the number 1 play-by-play announcer. And Troy Aikman became the number 1 analyst. And Cris Collinsworth. It's kind of interesting, a 3-man booth, you know. But then, when NBC brought back the NFL, that was basically when Cris Collinsworth left Fox and joined NBC. I think he first became a studio guy, and then he became John Madden's replacement after Madden retired in broadcasting. And then we got Cris Collinsworth with Al Michaels for many years, calling a bunch of Sunday Night Football matches. I've always enjoyed Sunday Night Football on NBC. It's really good. And then Al Michaels left NBC. I think it was in 2022. The Super Bowl 4 years ago was Al's last NFL game on NBC. Then he went to Amazon Prime, and then Mike Tirico took over Al Michaels' spot. So yeah, now for recent years it's Mike Tirico and Cris Collinsworth, which I think they're great. I've always liked Cris Collinsworth. Some people may not like him. I get it, but I remember he was on the Manning cast, and he was kind of funny. He was kind of goofy on there. So yeah, and we're gonna have Cris Collinsworth calling the Super Bowl with Mike Tirico. This will be Mike Tirico's first Super Bowl as a commentator, right? So yeah, I'm looking forward to those guys calling the game. He was at, they called their last game. They called the L.A. Rams Chicago Bears NFC playoff game, which was a pretty wild one in the freezing temperatures. So yeah. And I remember 4 years ago, the Cincinnati Bengals were in the Super Bowl, and Cris Collinsworth called that game. You can tell, it's your former team. You want your former team to win. Luke Wilson. He's in the studio with Jay Onrait. Seattle Seahawks are in this year's Super Bowl. Obviously, Luke wants the Seahawks to win. So, yeah, that's that. It would be weird if Tom Brady calls this year's Super Bowl because his former team is in it, But, yeah. Yeah, Cris Collinsworth, he is one of a kind. But I think him and Mike Tirico, they might be my favorite commentating team for the NFL. I think they're my number one favorite. But I also liked when Cris was with Al Michaels. Okay, so those are the happy birthdays today. And now, happy early birthday. We got two. Happy early birthday. First is Hunter Renfroe. Not the football player, the baseball player. Okay, so the football player Renfroe is spelled Renfrow. Okay, but this baseball Renfroe is Renfroe. So he's a baseball player. 34. He turns 34 tomorrow. Known for his impressive raw power. He is an outfielder who was taken 13th overall by the 2013 MLB draft by the San Diego Padres. Before fame, he attended Copiah Academy in Mississippi. Trivia, the Boston Red Sox originally drafted him in 2010, but he chose to attend Mississippi State University. That's interesting. Family life, his parents' names are Tammy and Todd. He married Courtney Elizabeth Beach in 2015. Associated with, he was originally drafted in 2010, which was the same draft that produced five-tool outfielder Bryce Harper. Yeah. I think a couple years ago, I remember Hunter Renfroe, he played for the Tampa Bay Rays. Let's see, what team is he on right now? Oh, he's a free agent. He's actually a free agent. Tampa Bay Rays. It was only the COVID season in 2020. So he was with the San Diego Padres from 2016 to 19, Tampa Bay Rays in 2020, Boston Red Sox in 2021, Milwaukee Brewers in 2022, LA Angels or Anaheim Angels in 2023, got traded to the Cincinnati Bengals later in 2023, and he was with the Kansas City Royals in 2024 and 25. So he did play last season with the Royals, but he is now a free agent. But the first Hunter Renfroe, between the football player and the baseball player, I heard the football player first. Yeah. That football player, I believe he's on the Vegas Raiders. And he used to play for Clemson, the Clemson Tigers, when they had Deshaun Watson 9 years ago. It's crazy. All right. Oops. Excuse me. I clicked on the wrong one. One more birthday. One more early birthday. Okay. And it's another pro wrestler, who I believe is still in today's WWE, but is a pretty well-known... Uh-oh. What the heck? Okay, I pressed the wrong key. Who is a pretty well-known WWE wrestler. His name is Stephen Farrelly, also known as Sheamus. He'll turn 48. Yeah, 48. Isn't that crazy? All right, birthplace Dublin, Ireland. Yep, he's an Irish. He became a WWE champion and a world heavyweight champion before appearing in the films The Escapist and Assault of Darkness. Before fame, he learned to speak Irish, sang a choir while at primary school, and played Gaelic football for the Erin's Isle team, where he was named Sports Star of the Month. I think that's a soccer team because, Ireland, they play soccer. Well, pretty much outside of USA and Canada, most people call soccer football, which makes sense because you kick it with your foot. Trivia, he won WWE United States Championship, King of the Ring 2010, and Royal Rumble in 2012. Family life, his father's name is Martin. He previously dated Brooke Hubbard in 2013. Did not know that. In the fall of 2022, he married Isabella Ravilla in New York. A handful of fellow WWE stars were on hand for the event. Associated with the legendary Bret Hart, assisted him on his journey to become a professional wrestler. Wow, that's awesome. Let me see if Sheamus is still in today's WWE. But when I started watching it in 2017, he was in a tag team with Cesaro. They were known as The Bar. They were like the top tag team on Monday Night Raw. And he had this crazy-looking mohawk. Yeah, crazy-looking mohawk. And then a couple years later, he changed back to his older look. And he is still in today's WWE. And I remember I did watch that old Royal Rumble match in 2012 on YouTube, because that's what I do. Every year I watch an old Royal Rumble for fun. And then when you win the Royal Rumble, you get the headline WrestleMania, and you get to pick the championship of your choosing. So he chose the World Heavyweight Championship. He faced Daniel Bryan at WrestleMania 28, April 1st, 2012 in Miami, Florida. It was the first match on the main card, right? And he beat him real fast. And the crowd went like, what? What just happened? To kick off WrestleMania. That's amazing. So, yeah. Sheamus. man, just look. If you don't know what he looks like, just look him up, and you're gonna be like, oh my gosh, you know. I wonder if he'll be in this year's Royal Rumble. I think I will watch this year's Royal Rumble. I'll talk more about that later this week. All right, guys, that's about it. 1 hour. So yeah, I know I did say it's a shorter episode, but it turned out to be an hour, because that's what happens when I talk a lot about people's birthdays. But yeah, anyways, I'll see you later this week to talk mainly the Australian Open tennis tournament. See you later. This has been KSN.